Well, California's response, other than ignoring the violence and generally not even protecting law enforcement from these lawless thugs, they now want to, and I think they have started suing the Trump administration. How's that going to work out? I mean, the judges in that state, we know how they lean. Mm-hmm. But really, is this going to end in anything other than just a waste of everybody's time?
Definitely a waste of time. That is their favorite tactic, using the judicial system to their advantage. If they do get something favorable on their side of the column, it's going to go up to the Supreme Court. That's a little bit tenuous, and it's not a healthy system if fundamental questions like, is the commander-in-chief, the head of the executive branch, allowed to expel non-citizens who are in the country illegally? And if that is even going to be tested and hanging in the balance of 4 or 5 people in robes justifying that, we have problems. But I do think ultimately the Supreme Court will rule favorably for this. This is within his purview as the chief executive of the country, and hopefully he'll have success with it.
Well, we can't have this situation continuing. You keep hearing talk about a constitutional crisis. This is the constitutional crisis. The court's being used to usurp the power of the commander-in-chief and the will of the people. We had an election. It was a landslide result. The president has a mandate and he's not being allowed to deliver on that mandate. And the Democrats have got to be careful with these tactics because it can come back to haunt them the other way as well.
Definitely. And this side is learning how to play by those rules. I think for so long they didn't. And so the left is very effective at these strategies. But Trump and his successors, whether it's J.D. Vance or whoever, are going to use that same playbook on them.
Absolutely. Now, Donald Trump had a bit of fun today. He had a diagnosis and some advice for Greta Thunberg, who is accusing Israel of kidnapping her.
She's a strange person. She's a young, angry person. I don't know if it's real anger. It's hard to believe, actually, but I saw what happened. She's certainly different. Anger management. I think she has to go to an anger management class. That's my primary recommendation for her.
Was she kidnapped by Israel, as she says? Was she kidnapped?
I find it. I think Israel has enough problems without kidnapping Greta Thunberg.
And secondly, are you going to
Is that what she said? She was kidnapped by Israel?
Yes, sir.
She needs anger management classes, Kosha, and he questions whether that anger is genuine, but if it is genuine, he wants her to get some help.
That was Trump and his comedic timing at its finest. I feel like we're back in The Apprentice, but in real life. She is not a sympathetic figure. I think she's suffering from relevance deprivation syndrome, where her climate mandate has fizzled and she's trying to inject herself into whatever the issues of the day are, sailing into Gaza, being intercepted, and then claiming she was kidnapped by Israel. And I think she's petitioning her country, Sweden, the Swedish government, to intervene, even though I think they're sending her back.
But they're sending her back. They're not even holding her. So I don't know what this intervention is going to do for her.
She sounds like somebody desperate for attention and fame and maybe anger management, as the president said.
Now, let's talk a little about Colombia. The leading conservative candidate for president, 39-year-old Senator Miguel Uribe Turbay, was shot 3 times, including twice in the head while he was addressing supporters at the weekend. Here's how it unfolded, and a warning. Viewers might find this distressing.
Segundo, salud mental. El principal problema en Colombia.
In the aftermath, the presidential hopeful was surrounded by supporters who put themselves in considerable danger to try to help him. Let's have a look. Turbay has survived emergency surgery and is in intensive care. He has been non-responsive thus far. His wife, Maria Claudia Tarazona, has asked the nation to pray for his survival, saying Miguel is currently fighting for his life. Let us ask God to guide the hands of the doctors who are treating him. A security guard has detained the alleged attacker, who is believed to be just 15 years old. He's in police custody. Kosha, we've seen this sort of violence too often in South America. You can argue it's happened in North America in recent times as well.
Indeed. Now, Latin America is a very dangerous place. I think it's 8% of the world's population, and 1/3 of the homicides happen there. So that's just the baseline situation. But then you layer on top of that the political angle to this, and there's been quite a few. I was looking it up. A presidential candidate for Ecuador was shot and killed recently. A mayoral candidate from Mexico was shot as well a few years ago. Bolsonaro, the former president of Brazil, was stabbed, survived it, but stabbed in 2018. So this seems to be another part of the playbook with just as the political climate gets worse and worse and the stakes get higher, you do see that, whether it's the riots in LA or these kinds of assassinations, and I think we'll see more of them, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, and the fact that so many of these victims tend to be on the conservative side of politics has not escaped attention either. Kosha Gada, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Pleasure.